If you've just joined us, you're watching Newslink on DSTV channel 403. Now, the Free State ANC PEC will hold its Lekgotla in Bloemfontein this weekend. That's following its election last month. The future of Premier Mxolisi Dukwana, who failed to beat Mxolisi Dukwana for position as chair, is still not known. Our reporter Moloko Moloto is following developments and joins us with the very latest. Good morning, Moloko. You know, it's almost such a difficult concept to actually grasp that we're speaking now of an ANC PEC, because they've had quite a lot of difficulty to get to the point where they had a conference, but here they are, they're having their Lekgotla. Talk to us about this.
Well, that's very true, Mfundo Mabalani. The ANC in this province has had to go through a very difficult moment. We were told that the branches were in a state of paralysis, and we have seen the infighting intensifying. Of course, that was all ahead of that provincial conference that was held here last month. Of course, the members of the ANC delegates coming from the branches converged, and they elected the new provincial executive committee chaired by Mxolisi Dukwana, who was the convener at the time, beating Premier Mxolisi Dukwana, of course, through slender majority, Mfundo, meaning that it was really a very fierce contest between Dukwana and the Premier Mxolisi Dukwana. Of course, we have seen the slate of Mr. Dukwana taking a clean sweep to a point that even after losing that contest for the chairperson, Mxolisi Dukwana couldn't even make it onto the provincial executive committee. Not only her, of all the 10 MECs who are serving in her provincial executive council, none of them except Mxolisi Dukwana, who of course is MEC for cooperative governance, is the one who emerged as the chairperson. So that gives you an idea of how Mxolisi Dukwana came to become chairperson. But of course, this weekend, the very first big meeting, I'm told, of this newly elected PEC taking place here at eNCA Estate in Bloemfontein. But let's bring into this conversation Bolelo Mahlatsi. She's one of the two women in the top 5 of the ANC. She's in the position of Deputy Secretary. Bolelo, thank you so much for your time. Maybe in a nutshell, take us through what your program entails, starting from today throughout the weekend.
Thank you very much, Moloko, and good morning to your viewers. As the ANC in the Free State, we are going to take, we will be having a 3-day political marathon. I call it a political marathon precisely because we will be dealing with political issues and organizational matters. Starting from today, we will have our political induction, PEC induction, where the entire PEC, as newly elected PEC, will be inducted by senior leaders. Our commissars will be part of this particular session. Tomorrow, being Saturday, we'll have our very first official PEC, which will deal with traditional issues that organization normally deals with in its first PEC. That will be inclusive of the election of the PWC and other political matters that we'll be dealing with. On Sunday, which will be our last day of our meeting, we'll have a PEC Lekgotla. A PEC Lekgotla will be taking stock on all the work that we have done as an organization, also looking at the 55th National Conference resolution, inclusive of the current NEC Lekgotla, which took place in the past weekend, cascading all those issues to our province, also making sure that we customize the resolutions to our province, because of course we are not going to reinvent the wheel. We will not come up with new things, but looking at what the ANC is saying, customize it to the province, and also putting action to it, because what is important is putting action to all the resolutions.
Yeah. In your invitation, you are saying that you're also going to be doing an assessment of the performance of the provincial government. Specifically, what would you be looking at?
It is important for us to take stock of the work that we have been doing. The previous IPC as government and as all structures of the movement. In us taking that particular stock is to assess what have we done well, what are the weaknesses and challenges, what are our strengths, and also preparing for 2024. Of course, we're on a threshold of national or general election. Therefore, we ought to take stock of the work that we have done. Also preparing for this year, a program for 2023 to say how far are we in terms of service delivery in the country and also the organization itself. Because remember, when we went to conference, there were other branches that have not gone to that BBJMs. Those will be part of the work that we will be doing.
Talking of service delivery, your national chairperson, Gwede Mantashe, when he opened your recent provincial conference last month, he said that there's no government here in the province, both at the provincial and at the local government, in front of Premier Mxolisi Dukwana, saying that I don't see roads here, and there are no roads, and I also don't see infrastructural work. And that sounded more like a vote of no confidence in Premier Mxolisi Dukwana. Do you agree with Gwede Mantashe?
From where we stand as the ANC in the province, ours is to make a proper analysis and assessment. This process that we are undertaking this weekend is precisely to diagnose the problem, to say where are the challenges, because we can't run away from issues of service delivery. We agree in principle there are challenges everywhere in the country, and our province is not immune from those particular challenges. However, ours is to make that particular diagnosis and see where we can actually shape up and make sure that as we navigate through 2023, we make sure that service delivery becomes a core matter in our business.
Premier Mxolisi Dukwana, who contested the chairperson and lost for that to Mxolisi Dukwana for that position, did not make it onto the provincial executive committee. I'm told actually she received 18 votes when she was voted for to become an additional member. And none of the MECs except Mxolisi Dukwana made it onto the PEC. What do their future hold, particularly for the Premier?
In the ANC, we believe that there are no losers and winners. The ANC is a victor. In this instance, the ANC will therefore take stock on what has happened and how do we navigate that particular space. At this point, we have not even discussed those issues, but we are looking at the core business of the African National Congress, which is our structures as well as service delivery in the country. For now, that matter has not been put on the table. We have not discussed it, and I'm sure in the future there will be some form of discussion around the matter. But at this point in time, the ANC has not touched on the matter. We are not dismissing anyone, but we are just indicating that we are looking at what we are here for, to make a diagnosis in terms of our own organization and all governance matters in relation to Free State Province.
I also understand that the Speaker of the Legislature, Zanele Sefuba, hasn't made it onto the PEC. Your Chief Whip in the Legislature, Mr. Thabo Mekwa, has also not made it onto the PEC, and I'm informed that there's about 3 members of the Legislature who have resigned. Can you confirm that? Have you heard that?
As African National Congress in the Free State, we have not received any resignation. Ordinarily, when members resign, they will resign through the office of the Speaker and the organization will be informed. From where I'm standing, the organization has not been informed of any resignations.
All right, Bulelo Mahlatsi. She is the Deputy Provincial Secretary of the African National Congress in the Free State Province. Of course, this is going to be taking place over the next 3 days, inclusive of today, Saturday as well as Sunday. And of course, the tone is there, Mfundo. In their invitation, they are saying that they will have to assess the performance of the government. Of course, on the education front, we have had praises from even the President and Gwede Mantashe, who said, you guys are doing very well. Replicate that even in other aspects of the provincial government. And of course, Mxolisi Dukwana responding to those remarks on the day by Gwede Mantashe said, look, our records are there. We have stabilized the province. We have stabilized the finances of the province. But the message was very clear in that provincial conference by Gwede Mantashe. Go and sort out what is happening in the province as far as the government side is concerned.